Welcome back to your favorite comedy finance channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I was trying to play with OBS a little bit today, and I'm gonna need a little bit more, I would say, practice on it. But every single time I go and try to do it, I just start getting like fed up really fast. Where I'm just like, I'm just gonna go live. It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? I just want to get the data out there. One of the main reasons why, I was always wanting to do videos the way I do them, or just kind of go live, no edits, is just to get the data out there and then get people within our server. That way we could deliver the data faster, because not everyone has time to watch videos that are like an hour, hour and a half long, or whatever the case. But, guys, look, I wanted to give you a quick market forecast, okay? And then 10 p.m. tonight, okay, we're going to have a voice conference 10 p.m. tonight on ODAP. Don't forget, we're on Apple and Google App Store, so we would love to have you guys there. We're there every single day. If you want to talk to me every single day, that's where I'll be, making sure that, if you need help with wallets, exchanges, troubleshooting, how to spend less money out there when it comes to doing certain transactions or whatever the case, that's what I'm there for. And then also to deliver data to you guys, okay? But I did want to just talk to you real quick. I know there's a lot of bears right now, and there will be turbulence between now and June, okay? And the reason why there's going to be turbulence between now and June is for one reason only. It's kind of like tokenomics, okay? When you're running against the debt ceiling, and keep in mind, inflation's 5%, and you also have interest rates pretty high still, okay? Interest rates are still pretty high. You're still not, you're still not superseding the inflation rate either. So you have to put it this way. When the rates are high, the debt deficit actually moves up faster. So you're actually going to hit the debt ceiling faster than what you normally would, simply because the rates keep getting raised, okay? I don't know exactly what will happen. Keep in mind, May 2nd, there's going to be a FOMC meeting between the 2nd and the 3rd, and they're going to find out whether or not they're going to do a Fed rate pause, or they're going to do an increase, or maybe even a cut. Who knows? Okay, we'll see what happens. However, if you take a look around the world, you'll see that every other central bank is pausing rates or they're cutting rates. Okay, so there's only a matter of time until the US does it too. Now, one thing I do want to kind of put into your guys' face a little bit, okay, we're going to be going through a little bit of turbulence, but it's not going to be so much people selling, okay? The turbulence that we're about to go through is more because the dollar is going to start to compress, okay? What I was just talking to you about was, when you're raising interest rates, the debt deficit is actually growing at a faster rate as well, because the more interest you charge for the debt that you have out there, the more, the faster debt grows, okay? Put it that way. So debt is US dollars, okay? So all these dollars are being collected, it's being harnessed, and now we're getting closer and closer to the cap, okay? Notice how I said cap. So the US dollar is getting closer and closer to the cap of the debt ceiling, which is going to become due June. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on this tonight during our conference. But again, if you guys aren't on ODAP, I invite you to support us and support our software. It's on Apple and Google stores. You could download it. We'd love to see you guys there. But again, as we get closer to that debt ceiling, you're going to see compression in the dollar. So the dollar is going to go up in value. And keep in mind, Jerome has already said that, I mean, I don't know how much clearer he can make it, okay? Congress and Jerome, there's no disagreements here. They need to raise the debt ceiling, okay? And for those of you that don't think they're not going to raise the debt ceiling, do you think the government is going to not do what it needs to do in order to pay itself, in order to keep it running, right? So clearly they're going to raise the debt ceiling. Jerome already said that it's imperative Congress, raise the debt ceiling anyways. And Yellen on record, and as well as Elizabeth Warren, have always said that they should eliminate the debt ceiling in general, okay? But this is going to be June, July, okay? But as we get closer, you're going to see the compression in the dollar. The dollar is going to go up in value, and it's going to hold down asset prices, okay? So it's not going to be so much people selling, but you're going to get that turbulence. But use the buying power while you have it, because I feel that by Q3, this is going to be the final breath the dollar takes. I think we're going to go up. We're going to spike in value a little bit, maybe 102, 103, and then they're going to ease, because keep in mind, right now what's happening is tightening. Okay, right now what's happening is tightening. So as the dollar is tightening, we're getting closer to that cap, getting closer to the debt ceiling. Money is starting to get more scarce. The dollar is getting scarce. And then Jerome and Congress are saying, we need to raise the debt ceiling. We need to raise the debt ceiling. That's quantitative easing. Okay. That's expanding the monetary system. So keep in mind the dollar is elastic. You could stretch it or you could squeeze it. Okay. Right now it's being squeezed. Scarcity is happening. And because scarcity is happening, the dollar is going up in value and it's going to be holding asset prices down. But utilize the buying power while you have it. Okay. Because between now and as we go forward, I could see, in the long run, of course, I think 75 cents, 80 cents US dollar by 2025. But I do think we are going to break the 100-cent mark this year. Okay. So keep that in mind as we get closer to that debt ceiling. Do not get shaken out. Okay. There's going to be a bearish sentiment, but it's really just that compression happening. But Congress and Jerome already said it themselves. And what's funny is Jerome Powell sits there and he says silly things like he goes, well, I don't want to comment on any fiscal monetary policies or anything. It's not my job or obligation to tell Congress what to do, but it'll be a complete catastrophe if you don't, raise the debt ceiling, So I do find it kind of funny, but I will say, that the representatives right now, they're trying to put forth bills to raise the debt ceiling again, which is going to ease the dollar, which will, again, it'll drain value out of the USD. But I have something I thought about earlier today, okay? You know how they're arguing back and forth to raise the debt ceiling with no strings attached? What if, and this is just an if, but what if, because keep in mind in May, FedNow goes live, okay? FedNow is basically how they're going to usher in the next stimulus checks, except they're not going to be COVID checks. They're going to be inflation checks, okay? And that's really kind of what I'm feeling. I don't know if it'll happen. I don't know when it'll happen. But I do feel if they do raise the debt ceiling, what if the strings attached might be inflation checks? Because if you take a look at a variety of different things going on, whether you take a look at the repo markets, a lot of the auto industry repos are going up. You have the commercial real estate about to collapse. You have a lot of the rentals. You have a lot of housing going down. So how are they going to keep these markets propped up at this point? They could continue buying these assets if they wanted to, but I don't think that's what they're going to do on this other side. I think what they're going to do is they're going to issue inflation checks, okay, to accommodate for the inflation. And that's going to be their way of accommodating, housing or, other costs and stuff like that. However, I do want to warn you on this whole aspect that I do feel like this is how the state is going to run the economy. I do feel like, I know a lot of people are expecting an everything crash, but I do feel like this is just the government's way of nationalizing. I think the government is going to nationalize not only the banks, but they're going to nationalize companies. If you take a look at Apple, that is definitely a perfect example of that. If Apple starts destroying off banks and stuff like that, and keep in mind, Apple is another company that's too big to fail, and if the government even gives you $1 or takes 1% stake in your company, the government owns your company at that point. So I do feel like a lot of this is going to be a state-ran economy or a subsidized economy. I believe that's what's happening, because once you start issuing out the inflation checks, the next argument is going to be, well, that's not going to fix the problem, right? Because the government loves making a mess, and then their solution is always a bigger mess. That's typically what happens. So what I feel is going to end up happening is they're going to issue these inflation checks, and then somebody's going to come out and say, well, what about real estate? They're just going to raise the price. They're just going to do this. They're just going to do that. And then the government's going to say, don't worry, Mr. Customer. We're going to regulate housing. We're going to regulate the pricing. And some of the people that I know, some of the private equity firms, some of the property management firms that I know, just different people from my past when I used to do M&A, a lot of different people have already told me that they're starting to regulate the percentage in which you can increase the rate. So let's say if you have a rental, okay, if you're a property management firm or private equity firm that's renting out homes or whatever the case, you cannot raise it more than X amount percent. Sometimes they say 5%, sometimes they say 3%, sometimes they say, no more than 10%, but again, this is just Big Brother stepping in and saying, well, we don't want everything crash. We don't want the economy to crash. So here's inflation checks to accommodate the inflation cost of living. And then someone's going to come out and say, hey, what about the real estate? They're just going to price gouge. And then that's when the government's going to regulate that and regulate this and that. And all of this is going to eventually be a state-ran, subsidized economy. And it's bullshit. It really is, because at the end of the day, if these companies are going to start becoming banks like Apple, keep in mind, Apple said 4% if you start a bank account with them. What do you think is going to happen to all these other banks, these small banks, mid-sized banks, which is even worse? Because if you think about it, this is a pink hat company. So imagine how many pink hat companies are going to offer banking services, and then what? Okay. You might put your money in there, and then you go and say something like it's a two-party system hoax ran by Zionists, and maybe they might shut off your bank account. Who knows? Maybe you might go around and, say something silly like, Israel and Palestine have been friends for thousands of years, and it's all a big bullshit scam in order to, manipulate the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere of the world. Who knows? But eventually they might be able to just shut off your bank account. They've already shown you that they will shut down bank accounts with JP Morgan and all these other companies. But imagine, okay, some of these banks, they don't pay attention as much as a company does, let's say. They won't pay attention as much as Apple does, or Microsoft, or Nike, or any of these other, pink hat companies. So at some point, we need to understand and really analyze that this country is nationalizing to really look, guys, slavery is about to go from 70% to 90%. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But look, I don't want to get too far into this, but look, guys, we have ODAP. That's where we are. We are there every single day, every Wednesday. For those of you that are already on ODAP, okay, we have a big talk that we need to do today. I'm going to give you another forecast. But again, look, tonight and every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, voice conference on ODAP. Guys, if you love me, if you love MYC, if you love our culture, okay, if you want our culture to live on, you want our culture to grow, okay, if you're tired of the bullshit on Twitter, tired of the bullshit on Facebook, tired of the bullshit on Instagram, if you're tired of all the woke bullshit everywhere, I highly recommend supporting ODAP, because every month I'm updating it. Every other week I'm making improvements to it, and a lot of people see it. Okay, guys? So I want you guys to be there. If you support our culture, you support us, I want to see you guys on ODAP. Keep supporting us. Right in time for the bull cycle, we have a perfectly good app that we created ourselves. Okay? Keep in mind, it's AES 256 encryption, okay? This is more secure than Signal, Telegram, WhatsApp, any of the bullshit apps that you guys know about, Discord, whatever. Our app is private, secure, and encrypted. Nobody is more secure than our app, okay? We designed it specifically to take out any other company that was trying to issue out privacy as a way to accommodate the user. For us, there's no data mining, no screenshots, and everything is military grade encrypted, okay? We don't mine your data or any of those things, okay? So this is something that we built for the sector. We wanted to build something that's a safe haven for people like us, okay? This is a safe haven for people like us. So if you're our culture, I want to see you guys there. Let's congregate there every day. And again, remember, every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? Voice conference. Tonight, there's a voice conference. Let's keep going. Another thing I want to talk about, okay? If you go on my Twitter account, I just got through putting a video, okay? Go to MYC Network, my original Twitter account. I got it back, by the way. It got unbanned, okay? I put out a video showing Jerome himself telling Congress that they need to raise the debt ceiling. So you know what's happening. The easing is going to happen June. So no matter what they say, no matter what anybody says, the monetary system is going to ease. But the dollar right now is still 101 to 103. Utilize the buying power while you have it, because you're not going to have it for much longer. Once that easing process starts in June, you're going to start seeing the waves happen, guys, leading up to Bitcoin halving 2024. And, just keep an eye on those things. I do want to shout out all the different picks that we like. We've been focusing on ABT, BLZ, PRQ, Jasmine, Dragon Chain. Don't forget TVK just popped up on Coinbase. We've done well with that 2 times in a row. I think that's another good one that just populated onto Coinbase. I would take a look at it. It's GameFi. And also, for those of you that wanted to know what happened with ArcBlock, okay, I talked to Robert, okay, about what he was doing in Hong Kong and, the conversation. He's raising money for builders on top of ArcBlock. So he said, I'm not raising money for me. If there's any money that I raise, and he says, it's not really that important, Dion. He's always kind of like, but he told me if any money gets funded, it's going to the builders that are going to be built on top of ArcBlock. And if you didn't notice, he was talking about recently getting partnerships done over there. So I'm excited to see that. Vitalik was there, and also Chow, which is the person that did the DID spaces with him just recently. So I'd pay attention to that. But I'm going to see you guys in about 30 minutes on OddApp. If you don't have it, guys, let's congregate there. Don't forget, tonight, 10 p.m., OddApp. You could find us in your phone on your app store, Google or Apple, okay? I will see you guys on the next one. Let's keep going and just stay focused out there, okay? Do not get sauced out there right now. There's a lot of distractions happening right now. A lot of bullshit, a lot of stupid ass coins are marketing gimmicks, and all the nonsense is happening right now. Do not lose focus, okay? Focus on Web3 companies and accumulate. Everything about this year is about accumulation. Nothing about this year has anything to do with profit. If you're within a community right now and they're talking about profit, they're talking about margins, they're talking about a bunch of stupid shit that has nothing to do with sowing, then that's the wrong community, okay? There is no reaping to be reaped right now. You are sowing right now. You are accumulating. You are getting ready for what's about to be the biggest mega cycle we've ever seen, because at the end of the day, inflation's about to take off at the beginning of June when they start easing the monetary policy until eventually they start cutting even more rates. And who knows, guys, Fed now came out May, so these inflation checks might come out, okay? So I'll see you guys on OddApp in 30 minutes. Remember, every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on OddApp, okay? I will catch you guys on the next one.